Okay,
So,
good morning, everybody. So this is a great time to start this recording because I just left Michelle. I was with her for a week and Sarah Gibson before that. And when I left yesterday, Michelle was just going to the Cincinnati retreat. She wasn't participating in anything.
oh,
And Michelle, just recap what you just told me.
yeah. So whoever on this call wants to join me, I'd say please do, because I woke up, this morning thinking I got to plan out the next couple weeks. So Hank Avink was the speaker. And if any of you know Hank, he's very intense and very, very like, this is what you're doing, poke you in the eyeballs. And so he started talking to the crowd and he's like, who really wants attraction? And I really do, but we kind of put it to the side because we get busy. And then he's like, no, who really wants it? And nobody was saying anything. I'd like jumped up, like, I don't know, some out of body experience occurred yesterday. I don't know what happened. And I end up on stage like for the longest time. Like I didn't even realize what was going on. And he says, well, here's your challenge. He goes, you have to 5 days a week, 1 hour per day, do attraction. You have to do 1 hour of attraction every single day. You have for 50 weeks. And then this time next year, you can come to the rally and speak at the rally about doing this. And if you don't do it, then you have to pay $50,000 to the charity that we have, that we raise money for.
$50,000.
It started out like, hey, if you miss a day, you have to pay me $2,400. And then all of a sudden he got crazy with it. And I'm like, oh, okay. But I got to tell you, that's something that you're like not going to mess around with. That's going to make you do it because I've already like scheduled some stuff. And I'm like, but
So
you know,
does it have to be phone calls? Can it be meetings to
it could be
find
anything. I
attraction
think
for
it
an
could be
hour that
anything.
day?
I'm going to get on a phone call with him and see what it has to be, but I think it can be probably anything because, he basically said, just help more people, whether it's, you know, I guess it could be co-sponsorship. It can be like, just, he's like, get out of your city, get out of your, correct area, which this is a plan already. So it was so
Hmm.
crazy. It was like the planets were like lining up. I'd already talked about this. I did that. And then I get up, I go to the restroom, and who's in there? The growth leader for like all these states. And she's like, oh, hi. I was gonna
Oh, was
call.
that Susan McLean?
No, she was
Oh,
uh
oh, the other woman that was at the
Lisa. Okay.
breakfast. Okay.
Yeah. Lisa. And I'm like, great. This is the one person I run into. What is happening? So that's the story. So you guys, you know, go big or go home, I guess.
Wow. So I got a text from our speaker, Eugene Crockett. He's going to be there. He just needs a minute.
Cool.
So this is actually perfect that Michelle's there because we have been for a week hammering out co-sponsorship, what that would look like, what we would do, who do you want to be in business with? We were pretty lucky that we actually got to speak to someone, and that turned out to be really cool. And we talk about the way things show up. When I went to Cincinnati, I had no idea that Gene was coming. I was supposed to leave Monday night. And then I got caught up in all the great things. And by the way, a shout out to Jackie Bowman and Andrew and everybody else
Yeah.
on her
You did a
team.
great job.
They had, I think it's the only sold out rally in the country. I actually flew back last night because I'm helping with our rally here in Orange County. But on a side, when I planned this trip to Michelle, I was leaving, and then all of a sudden I find out that Gene's flying in. We're talking to somebody. Well, everything just aligned. I mean, we had Gene on with this person yesterday in a meeting one on one. Don't you think he was on fire? I mean,
I mean, Gene's just Gene, he did such a great job, yesterday. He's just confident and he knows what he wants. He's clear and he just like, it's like he willed it all to himself because he believed in it so much.
mhm.
I think that was the big takeaway for me. Like you just have to believe it and then you're going to feel different. And then suddenly you're going to, jump up and say you're going to do something. So yeah.
And one of the cool things, I think, um, well, I'm not going to say her family's name, but he asked, what does Jean always say? When you're getting into a relationship, you need to know about the family, you need to know the dynamics. And he referenced her son. Did you see that? Quite a few times
Yeah.
in the call, which was great. And I know that this person really loved that. Immediately he built rapport. It was not about Gene. And one of the first things he said when we sat down is, we are not going to talk about um, EXP. And he went right into just getting to know this person. And my biggest takeaway from this whole event was the relationships. Who are the relationships that you're in? Who are the relationships that we're building? Look at all the people that we have on this call. Every one of us here has a relationship with each other. Every one of us here can pick up the phone, call, text, send a smoke signal, whatever you need to do. And we are there to help you and to support you and to step in. This is not just about having Gene or Brent or any of the other big people in the company, get on a phone call with you. It's about you can turn to every person on this call. You don't have to feel like you're alone. And the sharing is, it's relationships. Every time I go to something, it's more and more relationships. So thanks for putting up 50 grand, Michelle. Do
Yeah.
you know, do you know what charity?
What was it?
I wasn't there, so I don't know what the
Ginger?
charity was.
I don't remember him saying it.
I forget which one it was, but I can't think what it was, but
But
regardless.
y'all, he told her she has to track everything too. She
Oh
has to
yeah.
know dates of
I
when she
have
talked to people.
names of people, all the stuff, all the details. So yeah, it's not, yeah.
Wow. Well, it, I'm just sitting here laughing inside because this is everything that we were talking about, and we were talking about accountability. Everything is accountability. So,
The net result is that it's worth it, Michelle.
Yeah,
yeah.
It'll be well worth over $50,000 to you.
absolutely.
Very,
And
very
it's
true.
going to make me do it. So I'm excited. I'm nervous, but I can't wait to see, how I change, from doing it.
So here's the really cool thing. All right, if you just joined, Michelle made a commitment to do attraction an hour a day. Do you get a vacation? What happens when you're going on this
50,
family
50 weeks. So
50 weeks? So she gets
Hank's
2 weeks
given
off.
2 weeks off, and
She
that's it.
she gets 2 weeks off, and she's going to do it an hour a day, 5 days a week. And although I'm sure it's an amazing charity, we all know you're not writing that check. And I think what you'll be doing probably is writing a different check to a charity, because you'll have come from abundance, and
That'd be
your
awesome.
rev share is going to be like just amazing. You'll have all this money to give away. So I'm proud of you. It just keeps getting better. Just absolutely keeps growing. So, is there anybody on the call for the very first time? Jump in,
I
say,
am
oh, and
Ginger.
who?
I am.
Gee, Ginger, we just met. We've been hanging out in Cincinnati. Thank you so much. So excited to have you here. I'm going to tell you, we are going to have a very fast paced call, because what I want you guys to do is get out a piece of paper. This is recorded, and I want you to buckle in, because Ginger, your first call is going to be your most memorable call. We have a gentleman on this call, Crockett the Rocket, Eugene Crockett. He is, well, I'm going to let him brag, because he's been on the cover of a magazine. He is crushing it. He has branded himself, I believe, as Space Coast. So we'll get into that. But I want to say, when we talk about relationships, and as I said, one of the things that Gene made sure that he did on that interview yesterday was he got into relationship and learned about a family. What I've learned about Eugene is that his family is everything, and his daughter is everything. And he was on the Build cruise last year. He brought her with him, and I watch his post. I mean, you got to know your big why. So I'm going to ask everybody to put themselves on mute, and I'm going to ask Eugene to jump in. Hi, good morning.
Good morning, Peggy. It's a pleasure, being here. Thank you for inviting me. Hello, everybody. You'll see the name Selena, my daughter, one day. I guess my wife, they used my computer because the other one wasn't working and they changed my name to Selena. So
I wondered who Selena was.
I have two daughters actually, Selena and Chloe, but Chloe doesn't want me to really post her as much as I do in my younger daughter, Selena. So, yes, thank you for having me here. Basically, a lot of what I do is just nonstop, relentless, being persistent. So, last night, you guys know Napoleon Hill. One of the things I learned from him is if you're stuck and you can't think of something, go in a quiet space for around 30 minutes. And literally by that 20-minute period, all these thoughts are going to start to come out. I have been super busy, so I'm going to let you know that last night, all these thoughts came out, I put together, and I think it's pretty awesome because it literally came from the heart and it was right, literally without preparing for it. So just to give you a little bit of information about who I am, I finished off this month because I closed my last deal for the month at $4.6 million in sales for the month. I'm
That's
ranked
great.
number, thank you. I'm ranked number 19 out of 7,000 realtors in the county. I, yeah, and I have not been doing this for 20 years. This is now 8.5 years in. And I was a stockbroker for 19 years before this. Um, so with that being said, when I look at the current market, I feel that a lot of people are only facing adversity as a real estate agent for the first time in their career.
Mhm.
For most people, when they face adversity for the first time, they initially have to process it. That's what I think. And during that processing part, they become stagnant. This is when many realtors, instead of focusing on one or two things that actually work for them naturally and generally, they start exploring outwards. Some of them end up going to different real estate companies. Some of them say, I'm going to focus on real estate videos, on social media, but very few of them realize that the way they actually thrive in a tough market is simply just trying to compete with themselves every day and no one else. Not me, not anybody. Now, the main culprit for this adversity is the high mortgage rates. That's the elephant in the room. But many of you have probably said that their clients, um, the reality is that we've been dealing with high rates for about 2.5 years now. So that story is old. We got to pick a new reason why we're not succeeding. Basically, just bear with me one second, sorry. We've been told over the last couple years, tell your clients and your customers, buy the house and date the rate because rates will naturally come down. But in my opinion, for the ones that weren't intelligent enough to read through the lines, by repeating that nonsense to your customers over and over again, you have now actually directed your mind to believe that as well. And that it's either about the rate or when rates come down, that's when the business comes. And that is hurtful in many ways because when you're giving bad advice to your clients, also it's hurtful to you because it makes you think that rates alone are the only way that people will feel comfortable buying a home. To me, momentum works like this. Take action. For me, action is calling and searching my next deal, whether it's for sale by owners, expired, sphere of influence, agent attraction, open houses, referrals. And I can honestly say that is the what, not the how, that leads to my success. In this ever changing market, the how is always pivoting and changing. The what, which I call the accountability, is your mirror. It's your reflection. And I promise you, and this goes back to my early days as a stockbroker, in the beginning of my career, learning to talk to people and sell them to work with me, turning no's into yeses, getting people on that first call to trust me enough to open up an account, which required them to give me, a stranger, over the phone. This is 25 years ago, their social security number. I would have to call people for the first time. Hey, you want to invest? By the way, give me your social security number. And, it was a difficult task to say the least, but I focused on the what. The what was dial the phone and get as many no's as you can, or dial the phone and have those days that no one wants to talk to you all day, or you get hung up on all day, or dial the phone and get some presentations with the prospect only to fail miserably when the prospect stumps you and you're speechless. Or the best is thinking that you have to live uh, only to find out. So let's just say you have a customer that you've been showing things, or a agent attraction for a year, only to find out, you know, I basically I basically learned to become indifferent. One way or another, I was learning because I stuck to it and I built up momentum. Now, I could have just been speaking the same experience that some of you have had as a realtor, meaning, we're chasing these buyers around. Oh, the rates are high. We think home prices are high. You show them, you're working with them for a long time, and it just falls apart. But for me, it's all the same. The more people I speak to, the better I will get and the stronger my momentum will be. Now, I wanted to highlight something that I was asked a question about last year on Build. I almost feel, I almost basically fell into the trap. And I believe me when I tell you it was a trap. I almost for a split second became a victim of the how last year. For many, what should have been a quick conversation about the potential rule that changed last year with regards to compensation, too many focused on how they, or let's say I, was going to make money. And literally right under your noses, for most, that momentum that you had built had lost. Because it started off with one conversation. How am I going to make money? Then two conversations, then three conversations. And before you know it, you are spending more time with people that will not even earn you $1. For me, it pushed me into hypergear because this was a chance to break free from the pack of the other top agents while they were focused on the how and not the what. The what is, if things will get harder for us, then I will push harder. And I knew that. In 2026, how do I reach that momentum? Well, you can't wait until 2026. It all starts with the what. And here are my suggestions: sharpen your discipline, exercise, or go to the gym. Has so many benefits. Really, we just need one thing from the gym. And we literally only need two things in general. The one thing is discipline. Okay, going to the gym, that will carry over into your work. The consistency of getting out of bed early and working out, if taken seriously, will show massive results. Literally, without you trying, that discipline will spill over to your work. Those days you didn't want to exercise or work out, and you did, will then be applied to those items as a realtor, those tasks, those phone calls that in the past were being pushed to the side. And you will start knocking them out one by one. The second thing is the perception of you. The perception of you to them is their reality of you. If the customer believes they are much smarter than you, then chances are they won't work with you, or they will work with you and try to dominate over you. And there is really just one way if you have not been in real estate for a long stretch of time. Become obsessed with the curiosity of wanting to educate yourself on the past, present, and future of everything related to real estate and our economy. You have to pay attention to mortgage rates. You have to read articles that every day that come from your local realtor association. For me, it's Florida Realtor News. And this part is great because we all work with customers in our local area. So know all there is to know about their local area so they consider you as a local expert. Basically, like I said, simply doing what you can, bring a yes to conversations. Getting people to say yes, getting them to feel good, just getting out there and being active, that is really the what and how you get it. We spend too much time trying to figure out how to reinvent the wheel. Make those conversations count by you having answers and being able to counter any rebuttal with passion, intelligence, and clarity. I don't like getting stumped. I really don't. So I make it a point not to ever get stumped. If I'm doing an open house and people are talking about rates or, oh, these home prices are too high, my rebuttal is 5 months ago, were you saying your stock prices were too high? But I'm pretty sure 5 months ago, you look at the difference, no house has dropped 30% in 1 month, but your stock portfolio has. So, when I call people out, I don't let them come in there and rip apart a home, oh, rates. Oh, I'm going to wait for rates to go back to 3%. My response to that is for credit cards, you pay 20% and you get nothing out of it. What makes you think you're going to get an asset that grows for 3% again? So it's kind of like really answering them in a completely different way. Um, Basically, one of my biggest things is number three is being a contrarian. I think most people look at a contrarian as somewhat misguided, but in actuality, they are the Christopher Columbuses. They are the ones blazing a trail on what they believe and not what someone else or what others believe. If all of the realtors in your area stop working at 5 p.m., well, that is your go time to work and work real hard. Because in those 3 hours that you are working when most are not, that's when you build momentum. Maybe for some of you, you are so close, but you don't realize your go. Your time to shine is when all your peers quiet down for the day. And the reason why I say this is I truly believe 50% of realtors are not even working right now. So just by addition, by subtraction. And for me, in my area, in the Space Coast, while you're seeing across the country, real estate agents are dropping out. My area, there's literally 20 or 30 people joining the association every day as realtors. So I have to stay like this. Um, some of the most successful sports teams on average at best for 90% of the game are not even in go mode. They're not even winning, but it's the
Mm.
last 10% that they become champions. So my point is you have to ride it out the whole way. Maybe you start off slow, but you can end up being a true success if you push through. Because in any sports game, whether it's football, basketball, it always comes down to those last couple of minutes, those last couple of plays. And too many people give up right before they get to that point. So the game isn't over, but they've already called the game over. They've already tapped out. Um,
Mhm.
and some of you were there and then you've regressed. When the market is slower, your brand can grow bigger. Your brand. Now I have a name like Crockett the Rocket, and it works very well. It's catchy. When I was a stockbroker, I was known as Gene the Machine. But like I said, when the market is slower, your brand can grow bigger. Now, I have not been doing much in agent attraction, but everything I'm saying also applies to agent retraction. Know your rebuttals. Know what they're going to say.
Mhm.
Well, we can go to real. We can go here. Know your rebuttals. On any deals or interactions you have with another agent, build relationship momentum. This is talking about building your brand while the market slows down. For me, some of you don't do open houses, and that's fine, but do more open houses. Your brand seen every weekend with your signs creates brand recognition for you. When you
Mhm.
build relationship equity with other realtors, just because you did a great deal with them, you are building momentum because they may reach out to you in the future because you are such a professional to help them with something, whatever it may be. Uh, if they end up liking you, they can only help you, not hurt you. Also, I try to stay top of mind. Now, I'm not telling everybody to do billboards, but that's a contrarian thing. 99% of the time, you see lawyers on billboards, right?
Yeah. You're right.
Many people have told my daughter in school, "Oh, I see your dad on the billboard. Is he a lawyer?" Like, so, I did something different. In an era where everybody's doing reels and videos, which is great, I was the contrarian. And the other aspect that I think is very important is I pay for newsletters to be made. You don't have to. You can make them yourselves. But this is part of scaling for me. I don't scale on everything, but that's one thing I do. Now, my newsletters go out every 2 months to about 20 neighborhoods. It started off on 5 neighborhoods, and I've worked my way to 20. See, I believe when the market slows down, you have to have the Amazon business model. And I'm not talking about Amazon today. Remember, I worked as a stockbroker when Amazon was selling books. That's all they were doing. And then they bought Zappos. But what Amazon did for many years is they didn't look at their P&L. Okay. They looked at how they can grow, how they could scale, and they reinvested. I continue to reinvest in my business. Okay. I am taking money that I'm making and I'm paying for newsletters. I'm paying for billboards. I'm branding myself. This is not the time when things are slowing down for you to slow down, because then you're being reactive. I want to be proactive. I have 20 something listings right now in a slow market. What does that become when the market picks up? And that only happened because I didn't worry about how I was going to get paid. Even when I spoke last year on the panel, I said, if I take care of the clients, the money's going to come. Unfortunately, in the medical industry, I feel that some doctors and stuff, that's what they're doing. Instead of taking care of you, they're figuring out what's the thing that they can make the most money selling you on. So with my newsletters, though, I don't believe in spamming people. If you send something to them all the time, you become white noise. If you just drop in enough for them to want to hear from you again, that is the best way of them pulling you towards them, and rather than you trying to push yourself upon them. So my newsletters go out every 2 months, not every week, not every 1 month. And it gives the closed sales, it gives graphs, it gives price per square foot, good information, not, hey, I sold another house. Great, that comes in the mail.
Hmm.
We all sell houses. And it makes you look like a local expert. And this is strategic, you know. So, I mean, I know I've said a lot of stuff like a fire hose, and, I
That's
got a little bit
okay.
more. I got a little more if you want to hear a little
Okay.
more.
Yeah.
Okay.
Keep going.
I do believe that working harder, not slower, when the market slows down. Now, if you have a team and you're doing agent attraction, the same thing applies. I love that 1 hour a day. If you do that, what we heard in the beginning of agent attraction, you're trumping what Brent Gove did.
Hmm.
Brent Gove would do it on a Friday for 3 hours. You're
Right.
doing that every single day. And if that's not you and you're prospecting, do that 1 hour a day. Um, work harder, not slower when the market slows down. People are paying attention. When have you heard anyone say in a negative way, he works too hard? It's more like he is such or she is such a hard worker. And if you're really struggling with what to do to build that momentum, then I challenge you to start calling people who can either buy or sell without ever using a script. Fall forward, you know, and even if you're doing agent attraction, and after a little rejection and not even sounding that great on the phone, you start to get some great conversations with customers and prospects. And you are going to snap out of those shackles and that straitjacket that you were constantly putting yourself in every single day, and watching agents like me continue to soar. Sure, I may be afraid sometimes about what the prospect is going to say, but I'm more afraid of what my children will say. Dad, you were a successful realtor. What happened? Complacency happened, fear happened, and now I'm back to having no momentum. And I wish I could tell you that there was some secret I have that will make everyone a success, but the truth is, I'm working with the same playbook as all of you, and I'm not even using 90% of that playbook. I will say this, if you've ever had adversity, then it will be hard to have, if you've never had adversity, then it will be hard to have compassion for others that are going through adversity. And if you haven't gone through true adversity, start reading books about it. watching movies about, adversity. This will help create empathy for your customers and other realtors. And I'm honored to say that my GCI does not match up the dollar amount of real estate that I've sold. I'm honored because in a time where everything costs so much money, my empathy for my customers and the other agents' customers had made me do things without any hesitation. This is like reducing my commission in times that it's needed to be done because the seller is not getting anywhere close to what they thought they would get their house sold for. And also, if I'm working with a buyer who really needs help with seller concessions to get them to the table. I, as the buyer's agent, will adjust my commissions to afford the seller the luxury of giving my buyer more help to get to the closing table. For me, my success lies in the simple understanding that if you give, and we're not just talking compensation, but if you give your hand to help a customer or another realtor or even a low price rental, then you too will have this momentum. But you also have to put in the work to even be in a position to have these situations come up. That's kind of.
Okay. Wow. You said a lot. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And I'm glad you all had it written down because you didn't want to forget anything.
And I could go over some stuff again. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Couple of things, and I'm sure people have questions. I loved when you talked about the comparison of the mortgage rates to the credit cards. Bam. People don't think that way. Everyone is trying to think that they're going to get a good deal and the mortgage rates are going to go down. And I like the way you talked about the stock in comparison of where that's gone to where real estate's going. So prices. So let me just ask you a question. When you go to get a listing, can you tell us what your listing presentation is like a little bit? How do you, and are you getting them? A couple of things. How do you track your newsletter and how are you tracking your results from the billboards? And then what's your listing presentation like? Because you've got a lot of listings right now.
The newsletters, basically, I am so much involved in all my deals and sticking to that cold calling and time blocking that I think a lot of things like newsletters, I just come with the mindset that the conversion may take years. Okay. I feel like some people, even like, you probably have a story of an agent that you've been talking to for 5 years that finally came over.
Right.
So, what one situation, how that worked out is completely different for the next situation, and also it's hard to track when people are going to call you to list their house from newsletters or billboards, because if we take ourselves out of the realtor scenario and we just consider ourselves buying or selling a house, there has never been more confusion and concern for buyers and sellers than in a very long time. So, because of that, I'm not worried about how many people are calling me on the newsletters.
Mm.
Okay. I'm just consistently putting my face out there. And for me, it's like the 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon, right? I do an open house. Hey, it's Eugene Crockett the Rocket. I see a light bulb pop up. Yeah, you may have seen my billboards. Now the person already has 2 connections with me. Oh, as a matter of fact, Eugene, I live in the neighborhood. I get your newsletter. Now I have 3 connections.
Mhm.
That to me is when they start feeling comfortable with you. And then they go online and they read your Zillow reviews or they go on your Facebook page and they see how people are championing for you. That I think that all goes together. So I'm sorry. I can say off the newsletters, I've been doing them now for about a year, probably only
Mhm.
about 5 communities for a majority of the year, and I've gotten about 4 listings off of them.
That's
And
a
they're not,
huge success.
yeah.
How many, so you're talking communities, how many actual doors are you sending out to?
Well, so they charge per, so there's a community that has over 1,000 doors in it. It's a 55 plus community. It's pretty expensive because they charge per whatever. So I would say now I'm probably hitting around 2,000 doors every 2 months.
Wow. Do you want to share with us what you're spending on that newsletter? Do you know?
Yeah, it all depends, and I'll give you the name of it. And I'm not sure if they, yeah, you should jot down this name. It's called the Real Authority. Another example of that is I would get emails from them for years. for years. I always get notifications, do this. Somebody had the guts to pick up the phone and call me and walk me through a presentation. There you go. You know, I like that. That's what attracts to me because that's what I do with people. So yeah, so that one in Heritage Isle is costing me around $1,100 every 2 months. The one that
Hmm.
has or $1,200 for all those doors that it's costing me. And then it matters, you can do smaller subdivisions, right?
Right.
It used to be that you could study turnover ratio, like all these people farming, that has completely changed in the last 2 years. You know, like, well, it used to be a community only sold 2 homes a year, and you would not want to target that community. But now those 2 homes are on the market and they're not selling, and then another 2 homes are on the market in that community and they're not selling. So the way I've strategically done this is by focusing in on the areas that I've had success in. Not, it may not be specifically that neighborhood all the time, but certainly for real authority, whatever, if you live in a subdivision in any part of the state and there it's available for you to be the newsletter for that neighborhood, you need to start doing that immediately. I'm going to tell you
Okay.
one thing that I haven't done enough of, and this is where I think it all comes together. I go to the gym. I have billboards, but I don't go around shaking people's hands saying I'm the realtor, buy and sell a house through me. But that's my own ridiculous monkey mindset. I'm putting all this at work. It's time to step up. It's time
Hmm.
that I have to step up. I'm over here saying do things. That's something, and being aware on your strengths and how you can flex them and get stronger, I think is very important. Now we'll talk about the listing presentation. So I'm gonna fill you in on something. About 4 months ago, I got a call from Homes.com. Let me tell you something. You guys are sleeping if you're not paying attention to Homes.com. The why I like Homes.com so much is when you go on their site, let's say a consumer, and you click to talk to an agent, it is always going to go to you. It's not like Zillow where whoever pays the ad space. And they are making major waves. They are owned by CoStar. CoStar bought them.
Hmm.
CoStar owns apartments.com, LoopNet, so on and so forth. And so what homes.com does with all of their listings, when you get a listing through them, when you pay for their service, you become a pro agent. What a pro agent means, whenever anybody goes to any of those pages, your listings are going to be at the top. On top of that, they have retargeting. And look, it's like throwing crap at a wall. In this market, we got to work so hard. We got to do so many things. And so with homes.com, some of my listings have been retargeted over 100,000 times. So basically, it's going, and I'll tell you this works because I had a client that I helped sell her house a year ago around Christmas time. He's like, Eugene, I'm in Washington, D.C. Your advertising is working amazing. I was on Google News and your ad popped up for all your properties. And I've gotten 2 listings from homes.com as well, somehow through that as well. So, and then the other thing is they provide Matterport. They bought out Matterport. So
Oh,
what
okay.
happens with homes.com now, because Zillow has their own thing. You got to use Zillow's, you got to get with a photographer that's pays to be with Zillow, or else it's not going to come up on there, that 3D tour. So with
Hmm.
homes.com, they provide within the service Matterport. And it's proven that people like to click at stuff. You're going to get any way you can get more views is very important. And also, when I signed up to homes.com 5 months ago, 4 months ago, I only had one listing. But when they charged me my rate, they said you're going to pay 1,100 a month because we're looking on your average of the last 2 years. Without any hesitation, I didn't say, well, I only have one because what I have today is that's the past. What I
Right.
get in the future is what I do going forward. And I think for me, I spend and that makes me work harder because I know I have the
Hmm.
capabilities of seeing a big return on it. And so I made that. Most people, I'm going to be honest, would not have done that. Well, I only have one listing. I'm paying $1,000 a month. Are you kidding me? I did it. Now I have 20 something listings. You got to
Wow.
believe in yourself. You got to believe that you can get that done. Now, as far as listing presentation, there's a new thing with homes.com. I haven't even used it yet. They have helped create a listing presentation. I haven't even looked at it yet, but I got to work. That's going to be the new route I go because I'm having results from it. Look, I'm a partner agent with pros homes.com and explaining all their value. But for me, the most part is kind of just going there with a listing agreement and some comps. You know, that's
Okay.
kind of the way I go, like kind of what Brent does. I don't have any, I always revert back to the movie Wall Street. Has anybody seen the movie Wall Street with
Absolutely.
Charlie Sheen? You remember when he walks into Gordon Gekko's, always like, look at this chart. Look at this chart. Look at this chart. Nobody cares about that stuff. I
No.
mean, they don't. They want to have a connection with you. They want to understand that you have empathy. Um, and I always say, like, I walk into some of these meetings and they're like, Eugene, I don't have a lot to pay to realtors. I'm sorry. I used to hear realtors say, oh, unless I get paid 3%, I'm not taking the listing. That has changed. I'm seeing realtors take whatever they can get. So if I walk into a listing and they're like, Eugene, I don't have a lot of money. I can only pay this amount. I'm like, you know what? You're going to pay me this, but we're going to pay the buyer's agent more because you are
Mm.
competing with new construction. And any realtor can go to new construction and get a much better commission. I'm one of these listing agents that wants to get you to the table. Okay. And we have
Wow.
to pay the buyer's agent. So it's things like that. It kind of shows that you're selfless, right? And that you're
Hmm.
willing to get them to where they need to be. I mean, I can't tell you how many deals I've closed over a couple of $1,000s of getting the buyers and sellers to figure it out if I have to figure it
Right.
out. And then there's people that have 20 listings and they're asking me, Eugene, what website can I put it on? What flyer can I make? That's not what matters. It's the green nowadays. More than ever, it's the dollars and cents. And I think we need to have empathy for that. And for me, I grew up on food stamps. I got evicted probably 20 times in the same neighborhood. So I know what it is to go to struggle. And that's why I
Hmm.
say I can understand. And you don't know, like I'll give you an example. We think, oh, appraisals. We think appraisals mean so much. Well, get this. Right when the housing market collapsed, all those homes appraised the day before the housing market collapsed, right? They gave that value only for them to be way off. Now, people that bought 2 years ago that are turning around and selling their home. I have a client. She didn't buy the house with me because I would have never made her pay that price, but she did a $900,000 purchase with a VA loan. She's getting divorced. She's at 845,000 listed and still no bites. What do you think? You think, oh, I'm going to get 3%, you're going to pay the other person? I mean, come on, what world do we live in?
Hmm.
Everything is a la carte, right? Like they say that relentless hospitality or whatever. I heard that guy present.
He was amazing.
Every client is different. There are some clients that will take the 3%, have no problem, but don't let that go because somebody else is going to get it. And maybe that pays for your monthly newsletter, or maybe that doesn't pay your bills, but it does something to cover one of those expenses you have. That's the way I look at it. I'd rather make something than nothing.
And you also want to help people. You're not
Yeah.
trying to, have them bring. I mean, I worked in a market where people were writing checks to come to the table, and that was really, really, really difficult. And in the market that you're in, it's different here in California. You can't buy anything for $1 million, and you're still in multi offers and cash offers. So you kind of have to know your market and adjust to that. And want to open it up for questions because we've got seasoned agents, new agents. Who's got a question? Tucker, you're
Hello,
quiet over
Peggy.
there today.
I didn't notice that Peggy's here. Hi, Peggy. Peggy introduced me to Peggy. Pretty awesome.
Oh, that's right. And Peggy's coming to the retreat next week.
Jean and I are
Um,
neighbors.
Oh, you guys
yes,
are?
Yep,
yeah, we're very close.
very close. I couldn't throw a rock at his house. My arm isn't that good anymore, but in days gone by, I probably could have gotten a baseball over there.
Yes, or hit it over there.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Hey,
She's awesome. Peggy's
Nice
awesome.
presentation. Thanks so much.
hey, hey, Crotch Rocket. I think you did.
I got
I
that.
think you did a great job, and it shows that you prepared for today's meeting. And, I think your comment about getting involved and doing it daily perfects your delivery and your ability to trans uh, communicate with others.
Yeah.
100, yeah, 100%. I say that a lot of things have changed, right? I can go back to 97 or 96 when I started as a stockbroker, right? And we were using a cord phone. Here we are in 2025 and nothing has changed for me. I'm not trying to say like I'm in it to get money because I'm not. I'm here to help people, but that is your slot machine. If somebody said, go buy a slot machine all day, you have unlimited coins, sooner or later you're going to hit. But if you go have lunch and you go smoke a cigarette and you go by the pool and you do all the other things and you don't try to win at the slot machine, then that's on you. That's on nobody else. I'm tired of living and dying by markets. Okay. You're talking to somebody who was a commission-based broker, not a money manager. I built accounts and assets and destroyed them 3 times over. Okay. 3 times over. And so this time around, I'm not like when people ask me how the market is, I'm honest with them. But if I said it from my own standpoint, it's great,
Yeah.
and that's the position you want to be in. People that would want to hate my success in this industry in locally, because there are some out there, they can't help but not like me. Hopefully, I think they do, because I'm just a normal person, just working hard, not cutting corners, and I'm a team player with other realtors.
I don't see
I've
that.
shown. That's funny, man.
Grace has
You
got her
know,
hand up.
your enthusiasm and your ability, your communication and your market knowledge exudes.
Exactly, and I
Exactly.
love that. It's like, look, honestly, I don't know if anybody's ever experienced this life, but there was probably one moment in my life when I was a stockbroker towards the end and I couldn't pay my mortgages. I felt like I didn't want to live anymore. That was just a brief, weird thing. Never felt that in my life before. Um, but I felt like it has been, right? I felt like I had been successful as a stockbroker and I crashed and burned and had nothing to show for it but a bunch of bills. But what I realized is that was just only part of the journey. Okay. I wasn't meant to be a stockbroker. I was meant to be a realtor. And all
Wow.
those years of being a stockbroker gave me that knowledge, I believe, to just be unique. I think one of the most important things about me is Eugene is unique. My responses about what I say is unlike what even Hoss Pratt would say. Like I have that whole other way of rebutting people. And that's the thing. Look, if you really want to succeed in this business, just understand some things don't change, but a lot change. The rebuttals that people are telling you today are not what they were telling you 4 years ago. And how the heck
Right.
are you supposed to know that how to figure those out? You're not going to only hear them from listening to a Zoom call from Eugene for 30 minutes. You're going to figure that out by going out there and doing it. That's how you're going to figure it out. So I think the biggest thing is stop focusing on the money. If you're going to win, I believe conversations equal conversions. The better the conversation, the better chance for conversion. Hey, sorry about that. I didn't see your hand up.
That's
How you
okay.
doing?
Hey, Grace.
Good morning. I love your passion, Jean. It's very enthusiastic. My question for you is, I'm a new agent, and what advice would you give me in the direction and what I should take for prioritizing what I need to do as a new agent?
Okay. I still stick to doing exercise I wake up early in the morning. So if you really want to know what works, if you're not an early person, in life. We start a new chapter now. Start getting up early in the day. You conquer the day while other people are sleeping. That's the first thing. On top of that, I like to do some exercise in the morning. It's a good time to have early in the morning because it's the only quiet time you have. As much as I could tell you something, when we hang up the phone, you may get 2 phone calls you need to take care of. But in the morning, you get that still time with yourself to really, get a connection with yourself. So that's that. On top of that, I really do believe that you need to call people. Okay. Me, if you've lived in the same state your whole life and you're a realtor, great. You have a Rolodex. That's telling you how old school I am. You have a Rolodex of people to call, right? I didn't have that, right? So if you don't have that, start doing open houses. Like if this is your full-time job, do open houses 7 days a week.
Mhm.
Eugene, people don't come to open houses. Great. What book did you read at that open house that nobody came in? Hey, Eugene, nobody came to my open house. Great. Did you go over the local housing market data? So when that one person comes in the rain who's interested in buying the house, or else why else would they come in the rain? You're ready to go. You can't be ready to go when they meet you, because then you're unprepared.
Mhm.
And so things like that. And so if you're going to make calls, the most basic thing of doing is not sounding like a salesperson. So here's
Right.
the thing you want to start off every conversation with. Hello, my name is so and so with eXp Realty. Reason for my call. That is it. Not hello, how are you? It starts a guessing game. Okay, get to the point, right? You want to get to the point. Get to the point. So I think that becomes very easy in doing that. Also, if you don't have listings, ask other realtors to do their open houses. I'm going to say open houses, and open houses have kind of not been that great recently. But what is great is my willpower that it's indifferent to me whether 10 people come in. I did a broker open yesterday, 4 agents came in. The last broker open I did, 30 agents came in.
Mhm.
You want to know how many people have, how many realtors have brought buyers to either of those houses? Zero. So what does that mean? Stop getting caught up in the volume of people coming in. Just worry about the actual deals that get closed. And my biggest thing every day, I could tell the newer agent, what was her name again? I'm sorry.
Grace.
Yeah, I was gonna
Grace.
say that my favorite thing every day is to start a conversation with somebody and move that rock. Now I'm moving, like we had a good conversation. It's almost like an agent attraction. You had a good call, now you're on to the next call. Now you're on to the next call. That is your backlog. Okay. When you think about Grumman and all these companies, we care about their backlog of business. Okay. And that's what you're doing, because the sale you did yesterday is gone. It's
Mhm.
gone. So yeah, it's
Good.
just a little bit of that.
Become a
Listen,
knowledge junkie. Read the newspaper. Know your local marketplace so that you can talk about it and ask them questions. By the way, did you know that?
the other thing that I love about open houses is I always said to agents, how many signs are you going to put up? 5? No. Go get 20. Go get 20 signs, because you may not be able to afford a billboard and no one may come to it. But when you have your signs strategically placed all over, people are driving by. Subliminally, they're seeing you. 5 days a week doing open houses, when your signs are everywhere, people are going to begin to believe that you own that market. It's
And
huge.
make sure that your name is on those
Oh,
signs,
of course.
and
Yes.
make sure that all of the graphics marry with one another. Don't just go out and get a red and white open house sign.
No, no, you're branding yourself.
Right.
It's your portable billboard is the way I look at it. Put as many, and now I know I can joke about this. I used to tell people in Rhode Island, you get 30 signs, you're going from Connecticut to Massachusetts because the state is so small. But just put them, flood them everywhere. The other thing I would do is when it's on a corner, I would go knock on the person's door. It's on town property, but I would actually go and meet them and say, hey, I'm doing an open house. I just want to let you know my signs are going to be on the corner. If you need anything, here's my name and number, give me a
It's
buzz.
amazing. Yeah, that's a great thing to do, because I've seen some people in the past give a stank eye. So it's really nice to go up in front of them and say, hey, I'm doing this. And now you've made a connection, you know?
Exactly. Great,
One
great
thing,
question, Grace.
one thing I will say about, I'm all about branding myself, but if you're like, hey, I want to go after investors. If you want to get investors, this is what you do. You find a house that is beat up, that you know you're going to get investors coming to it. And then what you do with the open house signs is you get generic open house signs, because what happens is those people want to go directly to the homeowner to do a deal. But then when they walk in, they see a realtor. There's your opportunity. Hey, well, where's the owner? Well, I got you in the door. Isn't that the type of agent you want to sell the next house that you buy and flip? So it's just a matter of figuring out little ways, little hacks around things. Now, naturally, if it's your listing, they'll see the brokerage sign in the yard. But outside of that, let them make, right? Like my handwriting is terrible. And I love that it's terrible for that stuff because I look like I'm a homeowner that doesn't know what to do with their house. So just
I
little
love
things
it.
like that.
Well, I mean, this has been amazing. We're coming up to the top of the hour. Anybody else got anything real quick that hasn't said anything? Hey, Sammy out there, how are you?
I met Samia too. I remember meeting her. It
Hello.
was at EXP Con, I believe.
Yep. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm great. I've been up since 4:30 with John Lee, so I'm wide awake.
All
Oh,
right.
you are. You are. Definitely. Well, I'm excited to see everybody here. Thank you so much. You know, the recording is posted. Jean, from the moment I met you, your energy is contagious. And I love what you're doing. I love the fact that you're you. You talked about building relationships. You're doing different things. I'm going to encourage you and challenge you to please get some workout gear that's branded with Crockett the Rocket Realtor. Even if you don't want to talk to anybody at the gym, come on, dude.
Oh, I have
You
it. No,
know,
I have it. I have it.
are
I
you
wear it.
wearing it?
I wear
Okay.
it, yeah. And you know, it's funny. People leave. I'm going to tell you something. So I joined another gym. So I have two gyms because a new one opened up. The first day I'm in there, some guy is working out. He's like, "Do I know you?" And I'm like, "Oh man, you probably saw my billboard." So and it's like now it's like two connections. And then my other gym, in 1 week, three people came up to me and said, "Man, is that you on the billboard?" And it almost works better because I'm not running around like, "Oh, look at me. I'm the
Right.
realtor. I'm the cheesy guy over here."
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
but there's a finesse way in between that, right? I've laid the foundation. Now I got to pull through with it, or else I'm not holding myself accountable. And that's the way it is. So
I have a branded hat with my co-logo that I could wear to the gym. Very
Cool.
quietly.
yeah,
Hand up, Peggy. Somebody
Ah,
somebody has their
I
hand up.
Grace had her hand up. I don't think it ever came down. So it's okay. Thank you for pointing that out, though. Does anybody else have their hand up that I'm not seeing here?
and if I
All right.
spoke too fast, watch the recording. I'm sorry about that.
Next week, for those of you that are on this call, we are going to be coming live from, well, we're always live. It's something for me to say, but we are going to be at Jean Frederick's house in Texas. We're doing our third annual Wake Up Wednesday retreat. So we'll all be there. Peggy, I can't wait to see you. Everybody else who's coming, Annie. So we will be coming from there filled with energy. Again, Eugene, I bow down to you. I love your style. I love your success. Um, thank you. And everybody can reach out. Nobody's alone here. So go make it a great day.
You know
I'm
how to
headed
find
to,
me on Workplace. You could just
yep,
find me on Workplace Chat. You have my info, and just give me a shout.
I'm headed to the to our Southern California rally. That's tomorrow, doing the dinner tonight, and go to a rally near you. That's the other thing. Show
Yeah,
up to events, guys. You
I'm
never
going to
know who
say
you're going
this.
to
So
meet.
on May 7th is the regional rally here in Orlando, but I'm speaking on a panel, so I can't go there. But I'm taking the trip the next day to South Florida. I'm driving 2.5 hours to get there to go to the one on May 8th in South Florida.
Okay, there were people yesterday at the Cincinnati rally. I started it out in the morning, but I had to catch a flight. They drove 5 hours. There are people who flew in. These rallies, if they are in your area, they are not to be missed. You have no idea what room you're going to
Absolutely.
end up, who you're going to end up in. Reading, our retreat is not a rally, so you just can't show up
I know.
because you're right down the street. Bye,
That's so
guys.
funny.
Thank
See you next
you.
Take
week.
care.
I'll see you
Bye,
guys
Peggy.
soon. All right.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Peggy.
You're welcome. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.